Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury and Bulldog Nation, welcome to the Eric Deters Show. Well, the big news of today is obviously the crash. You're probably watching it nonstop on the news because that's when that happens. When these events take place, it goes nonstop. I tend to not watch it nonstop. I like big pauses because they repeat themselves so much. But if you did not know, a tragedy hit last night when an American Airlines going into the Reagan International Airport in Washington, D.C., struck a Black Hawk helicopter that was allegedly on a training mission. There were 3 members, military members, Army members on board of the helicopter, and there was over 60 crew members and passengers on the American Airlines that was coming from Wichita, Texas. There appears to be no survivors, and the plane ended up in the bottom of the Potomac, and it's really sad. It looks like there was 30 seconds where the helicopter was headed towards the plane. And who was supposed to move, I don't know. It seems like it's probably the helicopter's fault, but regardless of that, the loss of human life is tragic. There were a dozen or more members of the training figure skaters. These are young figure skaters from the United States and Russia that were on the plane. There is a story that will just make you just go, wow, of a skater that tried to get on the plane and could not because his dog was too big and he wasn't on that flight. Can you imagine the disappointment? You didn't make the flight and then what happens? So it's just so sad. How about Duffy, our new Department of Transportation man is sworn in, and this happens on his first day on the job. So obviously, Hexeth, Trump staying on top of it. Everybody's doing what they got to do, but none of that brings the life back. But we can't have it happen again. It's been decades since there has been a crash of an American airliner, passenger airliner. Every time I get on a plane, I take comfort in that. I always remind myself. And something like this happens. I'm reminded of the words of the great late broadcaster that did the Olympics when the Munich tragedy happened with the Israelis when they tried to save the hostages. And Jim McKay had that famous line, "They're all gone." And that's unfortunately, in this case, they're all gone.
Despite all those efforts, we are now at a point where we are switching from a rescue operation to a recovery operation. At this point, we don't believe there are any survivors from this accident. And we have recovered 27 people from the plane and 1 from the helicopter.
All right, RFK Jr. hearing yesterday, and he kicked ass. It's unbelievable. Democrats went unhinged. By the way, check out the Democratic senators' pharmaceutical donations. My good buddy Cowboy Melman sent me the long list. I'll be posting it soon. It's unbelievable. But RFK Jr. did a great job. Akash Patel's up today. Phyllis Fong, who's been at the United States Department of, I think it's USDA, she's one of the inspector generals that got fired. She refused to leave. She was escorted. Trump issued an executive order, no more gender crap and critical race theory in schools. Good for him. Bob Menendez, sorry about that. Bob Menendez was found guilty, cried like a little baby, got 11 years. I don't know. It sounds to me like this guy took a bribe. He's now sucking up to Trump for obvious reasons. ICE gang members, they arrested about a dozen of them from the Venezuelan gang. It's unbelievable. 250th anniversary is coming up, and Trump wants to have a big old party. I like that. Yesterday, Trump signed his first bill, the Lincoln Riley House Bill 29. This allows ICE agents to hold illegal aliens when they get them to make sure they're properly checked out. Fetterman attended the event and cried. Sad. Musk is apparently sleeping at the Doge office. That guy works hard. California water. Trump overrid California's protection of a fish, and he's letting the military water supplies run wide open. Common sense. Panama Canal. I read up on this a little bit of the latest issue of the Panama Canal. And China controls both ends of it, the ports there, and they're building a bridge apparently over the canal where they can circumvent some things. Bottom line is 40% of our cargo, domestic cargo, goes through the Panama Canal. We have to stop China's controlling the Panama Canal. 5,500 in 1 week, apparently, ICE has rounded up, including a bunch of bad guys. Good for them. Sean Duffy was sworn in yesterday as the Transportation Secretary. What else do we have? Musk. Trump has asked Musk to go rescue those astronauts, since NASA hasn't been able to do it. $25 million is what Meta is going to pay Trump for deplatforming. How much? Why don't we get some money? Apparently, Musk is looking for a house in Washington to stay close. Interest rates. Trump is blasting the Federal Reserve for not lowering interest rates. That's what we need. Lower those interest rates. Guantanamo Bay. Trump says he'll send 30,000 illegal aliens there if he has to.
Today, I'm also signing an executive order to instruct the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security to begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay. Most people don't even know about it. We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo to detain the worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people. Some of them are so bad we don't even trust the countries to hold them because we don't want them coming back, so we're going to send them out to Guantanamo. This will double our capacity immediately, right? And that's a tough place to get out of. Today's signings bring us one step closer to eradicating the scourge of migrant crime in our communities once and for all.
By the way, if you didn't know, we got the Guantanamo Bay at the end of the Spanish-American War. We kept it. It's on Cuba soil. Minneapolis mayor says he's going to fight back on ICE grabbing their illegal aliens. That's a law. That is a bad move, politically and otherwise. Trump says he will revoke visas for all the Hamas sympathizers on college campuses. Trump's tariff threats just keep working. Porsche and Audi might build plants in the United States as a result. J.D. Vance says we need more babies. Sabrina, go do your job. Go have some more kids. Microsoft, according to Trump, is interested in buying TikTok. This is the Bulldog. Coming up next, local news. All right, here we go with local news. Well, we found out why Franklin Thompson killed his 24-year-old daughter, Heather. She was smoking in the house. Do you believe it? That's insane. Ohio Senate Bill 30 will require companies, businesses, they must accept cash with some exceptions. Auditor of the state of Ohio, Keith Tharber, is going to run for the Ohio Attorney General's office. Meanwhile, a good buddy of mine told me a good point to make about Yost and Vivek. I'm supporting Yost. Vivek Ramaswamy, he's comes in like a wrecking ball. My friend pointed out to me that, the state of Ohio doesn't need a wrecking ball. Yost is steady. He's got it. Don't need Vivek. That's his good point. All right, just 500 animals, Sabrina. Just 500 found in a house. 500 freaking animals. Who the hell has 500 freaking animals in their home? Up in Ohio. Crazy. Insane. And Avtop, I'll call him Avtop. Avtop says that Cincinnati will now not cooperate with ICE agents. By the way, I can tell you right now, illegal aliens out there are all freaked the hell out. That's a good thing, isn't it? I think. Because if you're here safe, you don't have to worry about it. The one thing that I would advise, I'm being serious here. If you are an illegal alien, but you're not a gangbanger, a drug dealer, etc., my guess is they're not going to do anything to you. We'll see. Coming up next, Jamie Spindley in his World News.
Hello again, the latest headlines. Some very sad news. An American airline jet with 64 people on board collided mid-air with a Black Hawk helicopter last night near Ronald Reagan National Airport. At least 28 bodies have been recovered from the icy river. Rescuers are facing harsh conditions. The U.S. Figure Skating Association confirmed that some of its members were on the flight. along with Russian figure skaters and former Russian world champions. A Chinese PhD student in the UK is on trial for allegedly drugging and raping 10 women. Prosecutors described him as a persistent sexual predator. The case is being heard at the Inner Crown Court in London. In other news, a plane heading to Juba crashed shortly after takeoff from Unity Airfield in South Sudan, Africa, killing at least 19 people. The pilot and co-pilot were amongst the dead. The aircraft was carrying 21 passengers and crew. And Coca-Cola has recalled certain canned drinks in the United Kingdom due to high chlorate levels. The company also issued similar recalls in parts of Europe earlier this week. You're up to date on the world headlines. I'll be back tomorrow. Stay tuned for Sports Without Boundaries.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go with Sports Without Boundaries. The Reds traded for Taylor Rogers, a pitcher from the San Francisco Giants. It's a great story. Powell County boys were playing the Montgomery County boys, Kentucky. And there's a lot of hard fouls, lots of technicals. And the referee basically ejected the whole bench of Powell County. Powell County kept playing a little bit, and finally they said, hell with it. After getting another technical, they walked off the court. That must have been a wild-ass game. I don't know who was right, who was wrong. St. Henry has announced their schedule next year. St. Henry's will be playing football for the first time. Patrick Mavis, you get to go watch your alma mater play football. And the Cincinnati Bengals, if you wondered, are number 17th in the upcoming NFL draft. By the way, Tobin, the personnel director, says signing Jamar Chase is numero uno on his mind. Coming up next, pop culture. All right, I got two stories out of pop culture for you. Number one, Christina Baumgartner, Kevin Costner's ex, is getting married to a lover boy that lived next door in their house. I'm telling you, folks, something was going on there. But that's okay. Everybody gets to move on. It's all right. Jennifer Love Hewitt, this is her picture way back in the day, said she was way overly sexualized back when she was playing those sweet girl roles. You know, she was. But you know, this is interesting. They want the fame, but they don't want everything that comes with it. You know, you got people like Sydney Sweeney, baby. She just embraces it. So, but I like Jennifer Love Hewitt. Kind of had a crush on her, if you know what I mean. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Have a great day.